Welcome friends to a new session on gifted students. In this session we will discuss the details of giftedness, how to identify the gifted and the various strategies to develop gifted students, etc. Identifying and nurturing gifted students. Meaning and concept of giftedness. You know that our classes are generally of mixed ability in nature. This means students belong to high, average and low ability will be there in any class. The task of teachers is to identify the needs of students in each group and to teach accordingly. Naturally, every class may have a major share of average students. There can be students with high and low abilities as well. The number may be small when compared to average, but this small number of students in both above and below average groups is equally important. In this session, we have a discussion on the gifted and talented students. Giftedness and talent are often thought of as being synonymous and equated with achievement. But underperformers also actually may be gifted sometimes. The first question arises will be, who are the gifted? Before we go for answering this question, it is essential to analyze it along with talent, as both are closely related. Giftedness refers to a student's ability or potential in one or more specific areas such as of intellectual, creative, socio-affective and sensory motor domains. Giftedness designates the possession and use of untrained and instinctively expressed superior natural abilities termed as aptitudes or gifts in at least one ability domain. Talent stands for outstanding performance in one or more fields of human activity that has been systematically developed through learning and practicing over time. Students may be gifted in one or more of the specific domains of ability, and these abilities may combine in different ways to produce specific talents. Talents designate the superior mastery of systematically developed abilities or skills and knowledge in at least one field of human activity. This level of performance places an individual with the upper 10% of his or her peers of their age who are active in that particular area. These natural abilities, whose development and level of expression are partially controlled by different factors. The factors can be the individual's genetic ability and their environment. The genetic ability can be observed in every task children are engaged in and out of their school. Say for instance, the following abilities are significant in giftedness in students. The intellectual abilities needed to speak, read, write and to compute. Creative abilities needed to solve problems. The physical abilities involved in sport, music and the social abilities that children need in daily interactions, etc. All these abilities explore the genetic capacity of the child. The expression of a natural ability, that is, the talent, may be in many different ways depending on the field and nature of activity in which the individual is engaged. Say for example, handling of objects is a natural physical ability. This ability can be in different forms as the particular skills of an artist, a driver, a bowler, etc. Similarly, all natural abilities can be modeled into a variety of performances at different levels. Hence, giftedness leads to talents, but through correct opportunities. Thus, it is highly significant in teaching. Generally, we teachers have a tendency to provide more attention towards backward students and always plan something for them. So beware of the gifted and talented also. You are also needed to empower them to their maximum. Common misconceptions about gifted students. There are many misconceptions about gifted students. Teachers often consider that gifted students are able to satisfy their needs by themselves. The most common misconceptions significant to high ability students are the following. Gifted students are smart, so they can catch by on their own. The smartness of the gifted ones act as a hindrance from providing adequate opportunities for them by teachers as well as by the school. Students are presented with learning experiences that are appropriate for their abilities. Students lose motivation and sometimes even their interest in learning and school by being less attentive. Gifted students are outstanding in all subjects. We have already discussed various indicators of giftedness. A misconception related to achievement in school subjects is that gifted ones are as outstanding in all subjects. A few students may be high achievers in all subjects, but many of them are subject specific. Gifted students may struggle in some subjects or activities while they rise in others. Some gifted students even have learning disabilities. So, gifted students are outstanding in all subjects is a misconception. Gifted students are alike in their nature and activities. We already know that each student is unique. With gifted students is of no exception. Just like any other group of students, gifted students also have differences in various aspects. They may be differing in interests, areas of potentiality, levels of ability and personality. So, we cannot specify a list of characters unique to all gifted students. Hence, it is clear that one size fits all instruction is not suitable for all gifted students. But we should plan for differentiated instruction even in higher classes. All children are gifted. All children are gifted is a very positive belief. It is true that all children can learn and all children have areas of strength. But capacity to learn and pace and style of learning is different. It is a fact that some students can learn at a faster pace. Some students are capable of a higher level of work than the peers of their age. Gifted students need additional or specific content and mode of instruction in order to meet their needs. Now you may be clear with the reasons for giving special attention to gifted students. So, it is essential for a teacher to know different ways to identify the gifted students. Now let us see what are the different ways to identify giftedness. How to identify the gifted? Identifying gifted students from a group or a class is an important task. Teachers and schools should use multiple sources of data in order to identify gifted students effectively. There are a variety of assessment methods and techniques that provide a richer and more accurate picture of students' strengths and abilities. One way to identify the gifted is the grades and test scores. Interviews with students is another way to identify giftedness. Portfolios of student work is an important measure to identify giftedness. Information of various activities of students gathered from their parents. Teacher observations are often the best source for identifying high ability students. Healthy teacher-student relationship is a significant way to identify giftedness. Students who are gifted in one subject may not be so in other subjects. Say for instance, students who are gifted in mathematics and science may not be so in other school subjects. Similarly, students who are gifted in languages may not be so in science subjects. Therefore, such students may not be formally identified as gifted. Even within the same discipline, students' abilities may vary depending on the topic or the activity. Therefore, it is important for all teachers to learn about gifted behaviors and characteristics. Naturally, there will be some indicators that show the special capacities in children. Now let us see those major indicators of giftedness. The indicators of giftedness. Now we shall see what the characteristics of giftedness are. As a teacher, you should be watchful on the occurrence of these characteristics in your students. Good problem solving or reasoning skills, capacity to learn rapidly, rich in vocabulary, very good memory power, attention span of long duration, preference for companions older than them, wide range of interests, personal sensitivity, good sense of humor, extensive reading habit, unusual curiosity, highly energetic, highly creative, very good observation power, very good with numbers, fast in visual puzzles, perfectionist, compassion for others, moral sensitivity, highly imaginative, good at judgment, concerned with fair justice, tends to question authority. By analyzing the occurrence of more than 3/4 of these characteristics, a child can be considered as gifted. Hence, it is the duty of every teacher to have a close observation of students for the presence of these characteristics. Along with the indicators that we have already discussed, there are specific indicators for giftedness in science. Now let's have a look on that. Indicators of giftedness in science. Strong sense of curiosity about nature, objects and phenomena, showing high interest in investigations, tendency to make critical observation, asking questions related to scientific phenomena, establish connection between scientific concepts and observation, extensive scientific creativity, eager to develop valid scientific explanations, shows interest in collection, arrangement and classification of objects. There are some key issues in science education for the gifted. Answer for the following questions will be helpful to resolve the issues related to education of gifted students in science. Who are considered as gifted in science? What is the nature of giftedness in science education? How can we provide appropriate plan to meet the needs of the gifted? In what areas have the student been more able? How has the student been identified? What are the targets for the student, that is, areas to be developed by the student? What provisions are planned by the school? This includes provision within the class, extracurricular provision, etc. What can parents do to encourage their gifted child? What classroom experiences are suitable to transform high ability into high achievement? What are the precautions to be taken when we attempt to inspire the gifted learners to do their best? Strategies to develop gifted students. Now let us see some significant strategies which are useful to develop gifted students. Open-ended tasks for problem solving or scientific inquiry should be provided. Heterogeneous groups are appropriate for working with open-ended tasks and with new concepts. Homogeneous groups can be formed for review of tasks on already learned material and for skill development. Opportunities should be provided to work independently whenever possible. Students are encouraged to form groups by members of their preference. Cooperative learning is an effective strategy to develop gifted learners. You may be familiar with cooperative learning strategy. In cooperative learning, all students need to learn the skills of working together. There is individual contribution and group work at the same time in cooperative learning. Cooperative learning provides an advantage to gifted students as they can lead activities in groups. This enables to sustain their interest and motivation in learning. Significance of the learning environment. Here, learning culture means most suitable environment for learning. A suitable environment usually provides opportunities, freedom and flexibility for learning. Teacher can develop an effective environment in different ways. Now let us see different ways to foster an optimum learning environment. Collect students' opinion about what helps them to learn effectively. Train students in learning styles of their preference. Encourage discussion about the process of learning, how they learn. Motivate students to find out alternative ways in solving problems. Develop an attitude towards receiving others' views, how far correct it is or not. Aware students that wrong answers are significant in developing correct concepts. Follow teaching styles preferred for the whole group or class. These are some steps through which we can foster a favorable environment for learning by including all categories of learners, especially the gifted. Now let us see what are the aspects to be considered while preparing lessons for the gifted. Preparation of lesson. The following points to be considered prior to the planning and preparation of effective lessons. Features of lesson. Lessons should be with a clear sense of purpose. The lesson should promote warm, open and responsive relationships among teacher and learner and in between learners. Lesson should foster a culture which builds self-esteem and self-reliance in students. Assessment should include the level-specific progress in the core skills of reading, writing and arithmetic. Limits of the lesson are fixed by the nature of the learning activity and the capabilities of the child. Lessons should be in par with time frame and pace of learners. Conscious fostering of inquiry is necessary. Make students aware that unexpected outcomes may be the result of open inquiry. Lessons should be in such a way to promote enthusiasm in learners. The predominant use of open-ended, real-life questions should be included. Apart from lessons, teacher support is necessary for all students, including the gifted. Gifted learners may have particular social and emotional needs which may need support of a teacher as a mentor. Now let us see the areas in which learners need the support of a mentor. When they feel difficulties with peers, say for example adjustment problems, over expectations of teachers and parents. Child will be under emotional pressure by over expectations of teachers and parents. Decision making. Help learners to make appropriate choices and take adequate decisions. Overconfidence. Help learners to understand the advantages of an open mind and enable them to develop effective skills for teamwork. Coping with anxiety. Children will be anxious about everything and hence help them to develop a positive view of self. As a teacher, it is your duty to act as a mentor at times. Mentoring can be seen as a means of providing stimulating and worthwhile experiences for learners of high ability. Mentoring can be generally of 3 different types. They are academic mentoring, support given for matters of learning related issues. Holistic mentoring, guidance on academic and or social issues of the learner. Occupational mentoring, advice on workplace related experience and information. Academic and holistic mentoring is applicable for learners at school level. You should bear the following points in mind when you engage in mentoring. The purpose of the mentoring identified with both the mentor and the mentee. Questioning should be used as a way of promoting higher order thinking during the mentoring process. Let us sum up the ideas that we have discussed during this session. We have discussed about gifted and talented students, their characteristics, method of identification and strategies for their empowerment. Now let us see the main points of our discussion. Gifted and talented are used synonymously but with difference. Giftedness refers to a student's ability or potential in one or more specific areas such as of intellectual, creative, socio-affective and sensory motor domains. Talent stands for outstanding performance in one or more fields of human activity that has been systematically developed through learning and practicing over time. Students may be gifted in one or more of specific domains of ability, and these abilities may combine in different ways to produce specific talents. Abilities significant to giftedness in students are the intellectual abilities needed to speak, read, write and to compute, creative abilities needed to solve problems, the physical abilities involved in sports, music and the social abilities that children need in daily interactions, etc. Common misconceptions about gifted are: gifted students are smart, so they can catch by on their own. Gifted students are outstanding in all subjects. Gifted students are alike in their nature and activities. All children are gifted. Indicators of giftedness in science: strong sense of curiosity about nature, objects and phenomena, showing high interest in investigations, tendency to make critical observation, asking questions related to scientific phenomena, establish connection between scientific concepts and observation, extensive scientific creativity, eager to develop valid scientific explanations, shows interest in collection, arrangement and classification of objects. Strategies to develop giftedness are: open-ended tasks for problem solving or scientific inquiry should be provided. Heterogeneous groups are appropriate for working with open-ended tasks and with new concepts. Homogeneous groups can be formed for review of tasks on already learned material and for skill development. Opportunities should be provided to work independently wherever possible. Students are encouraged to form groups by members of their preference. Cooperative learning is an effective strategy to develop gifted learners. Here are a few assignments for you to work out. What is the meaning of gifted and talented? Give an account of indicators of giftedness. Explain the abilities significant to giftedness. Bring out the common misconceptions about giftedness. What are the major strategies to develop gifted students to their maximum? Now let me suggest a few references for your further reading. Gifted Children, Gifted Education by Davis and A. Gary, published by Great Potential Press, Arizona, 2007. Achieving Excellence, Educating the Gifted and Talented by A. K. Francis and R. S. Kirsten, published by Pearson, New Jersey, 2007. Constructs and Models Pertaining to Exceptional Human Abilities by F. Gagne from the International Handbook of Research and Development of Giftedness and Talent by K. A. Heller, F. J. Monks and A. H. Passo, published by Pergamon Press, Oxford, 1993. Academic Acceleration of Gifted Children by W. T. Southern and E. D. Jones, published by Teachers College Press, New York, 1991. What Research Says to the Science Teacher by R. E. Yeager from the journal The Science, Technology, Society Movement, Volume 7, published by National Science Teachers Association, Washington, D.C., 1993. Thank you for watching this program. Let's meet again in another episode with another topic. Till then, bye.